Hey guys, and welcome back to Core Keeper. This game is, I would say it's very similar in some ways to, I think, what Terraria is, but also to a game I played in the past for a bit called Starbound. I made a few videos on the channel. It was sort of a different perspective, but it has the same sort of feel as Starbound in terms of, going around collecting resources, exploring this world and sort of building your own base and crafting equipment and things like that. So this one has a slight sort of twist compared to Starbound, or at least some of the stuff I remember in terms of you have to manage your food levels, and you also have health bars, so you can go around and fight monsters as well. And I think there's some bosses, but I haven't fully got to that part yet. So this game is fairly new on Steam, at least anyways, although I can tell it it's going through an early access version, and there are videos on YouTube from some alpha version, so I'm having some trouble figuring out exactly how new it is or isn't. But I was surprised for an early access game the amount of content that this has. So I was in here and exploring right off the bat, but very impressive. I don't know if this is a procedurally generated world or if everyone has the same world, but regardless, it's quite extensive. So just exploring and digging around here to see what I could find. I found this room with a treasure chest, so I was like, let's see what the heck this is. So in this game, you have some skills that you can level up, and one of them is mining, and as you level it up, you get various perks that will help you to mine faster, and you can also craft pickaxes, which will help you to mine faster as well. But you're also mining resources out of the ground, which reminds me of that one game from, I think it was miniclip.com, but I can't remember what it was called. It was called Motherlode. Different perspective, once again, it was like a different angle, but that's what mining the resources in this game reminds me of a little bit. So I decided to check out this chest, but I'm not sure what was in it. Oh, okay, mysterious doll set. I don't know what that is, though. It just says it's some rare thing. But regardless, I found a chest. And everything in here you find, largely you can sort of deconstruct and take. For example, all of the things in this little room, including the torches, I found out you can just take them apart and just take them for yourself. There's no place that I found yet to sell them per se, but there's not really a currency exactly. It's more you're creating things yourself. So the objective is for me to hopefully take this stuff and then use it to make better things with. Now, I don't entirely know exactly what the point of the cosmetics for bases and such is, considering it's a single player sort of experience, but still could be fun to create a really blingy looking base of some sort. I'm curious to see what the end game of this is, just because there does seem to be a lot of content, and I feel like there's a lot of different directions they could go with this. So we got these things called paintable walls, and it seems that maybe you could change the colors of these to match whatever you want, however you do that. But regardless, it's much like Minecraft in that you get these items in your inventory as you're digging around, and then you can just have stacks of them and just place them around as you want. You can place them to, build a base. You can also place them to your advantage. Like sometimes I would run into monsters that I didn't want to fight, so I would simply pull out a wall and just wall them off, so I didn't have to see them anymore, so they'd stop attacking me. So here we built a workbench, which is where you start crafting things. The crafting seems to be the sort of end game per se, other than maybe fighting bosses and such. So lots of things to craft, but basically you kind of go up in tiers, it seems like. So you can see on this one, I can make a furnace, I can make storage chests, which are very cheap actually. Then there's a copper anvil, there's a more advanced workbench, and then another more advanced workbench. So the workbenches start to get more and more resource intensive to create. And then there's also, for example, I can make bridge tiles to, craft bridges across water or, sort of drop-offs in the cave, which you'll see later actually becomes kind of a thing. I didn't realize that was such a mechanic in this game, but it seems that bridges are actually very important to have a bunch of those bridge tiles crafted, So those require wood, and then torches also require wood. So you have to acquire a lot of wood in order to fund these crafting endeavors. And then smelting some bars in here. And you can craft those bars into things like swords and armor and such, very reminiscent of RuneScape. Maybe a bit too simple for these days, but the reality is RuneScape was always very simple, but it worked regardless of being very simple. You know, something doesn't have to be complex to be fun. Sometimes simple is the name of the game. And here I was testing out these bridge tiles, getting used to them. I hadn't really done any combat as of this point, so I was a little unsure of that slime thing down there. Those orange things are called slime, or at least that's what they drop, is called slime. So I think they're made out of orange slime. And it turns out there's a whole bunch of different NPCs that are, or monsters that are all slime-based. And they have sort of different difficulty levels to them. There's some ones with spikes on them, which are harder and more aggressive, and they'll jump at you. And then there's like some big boss one to the south of the starting area. And then, yeah, there's a lot of things. So there I managed to find the edge of the world, or this, not the world, but this part of the world, the main sort of, I guess, called landmass of this thing that I'm on. But it turns out that you can get across those with bridges, so that's the interesting part. So found this hidden area here, and those little things on the ground there are actually boxes. The roots, those other things are roots, but these things are boxes that I just destroyed, and they give you various items, such as a balm, which destroys a large amount of space. And then these roots give you wood, which, as I said, is useful for crafting a lot of things, such as torches and bridge tiles. So it does definitely have a Minecraft-ish feel as well. And to me it feels like a mix of Minecraft and Starbound, because I hadn't really played any Terraria, even though I own it. So, yeah, very interesting start here. I like how abundant the resources are. I didn't really feel like I was constrained a ton by finding resources. It's actually pretty easy to do, and I love that this game encourages exploration, because I'm a big fan of games that have a lot of exploration. And I genuinely felt like I wanted to keep playing because I never knew what I was going to find. Maybe there were some repetitive loot drops. There could be a little more variety in some of the loot that you get. But on the whole, I definitely got that feel in the early part of this game that I wanted to explore, to keep seeing what I was going to find, because, you know, there's a lot of different things you can find in this game, and I never knew what was going to be around the next corner, and that was kind of a nice feeling. To think that I could find something cool that maybe someone else hasn't found yet, or at least I would get that feeling in Starbound, and I like getting that feeling again in this game. So I found, again, the edge of the starting area here, and I used to think, when I first started playing here, I thought this was the end of it, but then I realized, wait a second, there's actually something beyond this. That's not the end of this world. I thought it was just a very small world, because it was, you know, early access. Turns out you can build across this with bridges and keep going. And there's more stuff beyond that. So you can actually basically build out of the starting area. Even though the starting area itself is pretty big, you can build out of it, and there's other areas to explore beyond that. And they have some mechanics of their own, as I'll explain a little later. So going around collecting things, those mushrooms, I was eating those for food, and they also regenerate health. So the food is the orange bar, and it goes down over time as you do various interactions in the game. I'm not sure what all of those factors are, but it goes down. But luckily, as long as you're constantly exploring, there's pretty much plentiful food, as far as I could find, to satisfy those issues. Although I will say, as more of the world gets explored, I don't know how that's going to exactly pan out, because I don't think the stuff respawns, so maybe I'll have a food issue later, but we'll see. So that's where I got into for now with this game. Let me know if you've heard of this game. Again, it's called Core Keeper. It's fairly new in early access. If I should do more of this game on the channel, I might try a little short series of this of this game, just because I hadn't seen too much of this yet. But I like the concept, and I think it could be fun. We'll see. Might try some videos, just see how it feels. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments and what other types of content I should create. Maybe subscribe if you're new to the channel. And thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos.